Hello and welcome to another video about Trails into Reverie. This time we have started with Rean's arc and I've already played through it.
Is that all?
And actually through the first introduction of the third protagonist, Z. I'm starting this with the first scenes in the Rean path, just to show how much of a disservice this does to the whole story arc. I know it's a staple to show future incidents in the beginning and then get back in time. But at this point, this special scene here does a huge disservice to that idea, because we are seeing here the people get separated and they were attacked by one swordman that I don't really know, but the other one who is attacking us is Claire.
At this rate. Come on.
And
We'll hide under the bridge.
the thing is, Claire was with us on the train to Emir,
We need
which
to get to
means
Instructor Rean ASAP. I agree. And we need to get out of this
she
icy
will
water.
betray
Don't
us
accept any more of our-
in
That should be our
some
top
way or
priority.
the other. And we already know
I think
that.
I can't see.
Now that would be funny if the
No one
rest of
thinks
the
that was made when she
first
was this
part
serious, I think.
would be about how she was reacting and how this was maybe foreshadowed for some of us. But no. After arriving in Emir, we get quite a few dialogues with our class, and the point is, all of them were just there to reintroduce the cast. None of these things were in any way interesting. This is the first thing that it has some relevance, and it also shows how bad of a character design Rean is and how much it doesn't make sense what he says. I will comment on that now, while the dialogue is running.
By the way, Rean,
Yes?
this feels very overdue, but I wanted to thank you
For what?
for all you did during the rivalries, for all you did for Milliam, for facing me head on, and for granting His Excellency's true wish. Mere words feel woefully insufficient given all you've done, but I also didn't want my gratitude to go unspoken.
That's very kind, but you really didn't have to.
I agree.
I was just doing what I wanted to do, and I couldn't have done it alone.
I agree again.
That's about what I expected you'd say.
This might sound kind of sappy,
Oh, that would be a first.
but I feel like it was worth it all just to see you smile again.
Oh, come on. She was one of the few people who wasn't even in your harem. And actually, that's a shame, because she would be the one girl I see you end up with the most. Seriously, the chemistry between you two is more or less the best we get with you and the girl.
You really are oblivious to how you sound sometimes. Jokes and thanks aside, there's something I wanted to ask you too.
What is it?
Are you truly happy right now, Rean?
Of course I am. Busy, certainly, but I am happy.
Yeah, that sounded happy.
I still can't believe we made it through the Great Twilight.
Yeah, me too.
We even got Crow and Milliam back. I was hoping there was a way we wouldn't lose them, obviously. But deep down, I had already given up and braced for the inevitable. It wasn't without some goodbyes. But it's all over now. And I can still be with everyone I care about. Which includes you, of course. The joy I feel about that hasn't gone anywhere.
I'm glad to hear that. Still, there's a difference between being happy over something and you yourself being happy.
Yeah, I don't know where this is leading.
You went through a lot during the Great Twilight, including having to say farewell to your father.
A father that actually never really cared about his son, at least superficially, and who made his life very difficult in every way possible. So that is one strained father-son relationship.
Despite living in fear you would disappear or lose your friends, you came out the other side with victory in hand.
Well, mostly because everybody worked so this guy could have a victory to tell about. He was done after part 3 of Cold Steel. They had to rescue him, and he was stuck in berserk mode. Remember that. He is completely useless.
You, Rean, persevered to save us all.
No, everybody else did that. He was just there.
And I can believe that's made you happy, yes. As much as I can believe that happiness continues to cast a punishing shadow over you. Am I wrong?
I'm speechless. You really can see right through me. You're right. I'm still not sure how to handle the happiness I feel. I know it's there. I'm just not sure how to truly accept it. All the people who died on the first day of the war did so because I made the Great Twilight happen.
No, not you made the Great Twilight happen. Your father did. You were just there for the ride.
Do I even deserve to be happy when they can't be? Or forgiven for what I did?
At least you helped stop the war very fast. That means you saved more people than would have died. Very much a victory.
It may not be my place to say this, but I think you're the only one who can decide that.
I suppose you're right.
I know how you feel, because I'm in exactly the same position.
And that's one of the reasons I'm showing you this clip. She is completely wrong with that one.
You were concerned earlier that I might be overworking myself. For me, I'm just trying to atone for my sins by throwing myself into my work.
That's a good idea, because you did commit quite a few sins.
Major, that can't be good for...
Don't worry. I can calculate how far I can go as well as any number. I'm taking care not to cross the line into self-sacrifice. It's tempting, though. Every time I achieve something to make Erebonia's future better or see you and Milliam's smiling faces, I get a little closer to forgiving myself. It's not something I can do overnight. It's every moment I can justify forgiveness, no matter how small it is, that gets me one step closer. As long as I don't falter, I'm sure I'll be able to like myself again one day.
That's a mature way of going about it.
Far from it. I'm duplicitous to a fault.
I wonder if I
don't think my approach will work for you. You're much too sincere to go tricking yourself into feeling anything other than how you feel. I know it won't be easy for you. I hope you can let yourself be happy.
Easier said than done, I'm afraid.
Maybe. But if you let it elude you I'll always be one good deed short of being able to fully forgive myself.
What am I even supposed to say to that?
Maybe we are not alike. You made a conscious decision to follow my father. You have joined the Ironbloods, and even after you saw that there was a lot of stuff going on that wasn't okay, you stayed there. On the other side, Rean was a little child and wasn't asked to be the sacrifice. His father just decided that for him. He didn't know it, he went berserk a few times, and he was just a bumbling fool going through the story. He is so useless for his own story, his own arc, that it's baffling. So story-wise, we had the typical crossbow story arc, which everything looked fine at the beginning and everything was coming together, and then the rug was pulled under our feet and everything went south very fast. In terms of crossbow, it always ends like this. So our group of school kids here has been hired by the government of Erebonia to find the prince and his wife. And I'm not quite sure why they hired some school kids to do this. I mean, they do know that Sherazade is a former A-rank bracer, so they could just ask the Bracer Guild. They can be discreet and probably more competent than these bozos. But yeah, we wouldn't have a plot otherwise, and well, we would have shifted out Rean for Estelle as a protagonist. Hey wait, that would be great! Why didn't we do that? So that fight we witnessed at the beginning was actually a test of some sort to see if these people are up to the task. I had to grind quite a bit to get these guys into shape. I already did that in the Lloyd arc because the setup for the quartz was so abysmal, I mentioned that, and it wasn't any better in this case. So getting a halfway decent setup was a pain actually. I had to run down this hill and run up again a few times, so I had enough CP to get that far.
Was that all?
The tactical fights are quite devalued by the introduction of the Zero Craft. Now I can just fire up an S-Craft for free, and that changes the balance of the battle really hard. Because before that I had to think, where do I put my CP? Is it really okay to use an S-Craft now? Maybe I should wait. Maybe I have a fight back to back. There was a little more involved than this. Also, I had the final fight against the super sword guy who at the end was Kurt's father, one of the best swordmen of Erebonia, and he gave me 50 rounds with the full team to defeat him, and I was done after 18 rounds. Now this is only hard mode, but I guess it could have been harder. Anyway, the plot is coming together. I also saw a little of the third pass with C, and that is very curious. We got some very edgy new characters over there, and there is a little too stereotypical girl that we pulled out of an oversized briefcase. You know, like Kia, we are hitting the same notes. On that note, yes, Yuna did learn from Crossbell being occupied yet again and had a little breakdown yet again. Also, we had a dialogue between Rean and the swordsman after the fight, and him talking about how Rean is holding back. You know, just like we had with Lord Arcite and Rean in Cold Steel 1. So after 4 games of Cold Steel, Rean hasn't developed one bit past that problem. I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed. Well, that's all for now. I might have another video where I discuss the path of C, when I have a little more to show about that path, that is.
Move out.
For now, goodbye.
Well then,